Admiral Richard Byrd stood in front of cameras in 1947, fresh from his Antarctic expedition, and said something that would haunt researchers for decades. He spoke of a land beyond the pole, of resources that could sustain civilization, of discoveries that defied explanation. Then, within months, the story changed. Official reports were sanitized, photographs disappeared, and Byrd himself never spoke publicly about what he really found on the Rockefeller coast again. For over 75 years, researchers have been asking the same question. What did Byrd's expedition actually discover in that frozen wilderness? And why did one of America's most celebrated explorers suddenly go silent about the most important mission of his career? This is the story they don't want you to know. In 1946, the United States launched Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition in history. 13 ships, 4,700 men, and enough military hardware to invade a small country. The fleet included aircraft carriers, destroyers, icebreakers, submarines, and over 30 aircraft. The budget exceeded any peacetime Antarctic mission by orders of magnitude. The official mission? Mapping and scientific research. But the scale told a different story. You don't send that much firepower to study penguin populations. You don't deploy naval combat groups for climate data. Admiral Richard Byrd led the expedition. He was no stranger to Antarctica. He'd been there before in the 1930s, making headlines with his solo flights over uncharted territory. He'd claimed to have flown over the North Pole in 1926, becoming an American hero. His reputation was built on pushing boundaries and documenting the unknown. But Operation High Jump was different. The military oversight was unprecedented. Byrd reported directly to the Secretary of the Navy. Mission parameters were classified from day one. This wasn't exploration. This was something else entirely. The expedition arrived at the Rockefeller coast in January 1947. This stretch of Antarctica had barely been touched by human hands. Ice cliffs rose hundreds of feet from the ocean. Inland mountain ranges stretched beyond the horizon. And somewhere in that frozen expanse, Byrd's team made a discovery that would change everything. Reports from the expedition described anomalies, warm water lakes in the middle of ice sheets, vegetation growing where nothing should survive, geological formations that seemed impossible given what we knew about Antarctica's history. But these details only came from leaked documents and second-hand accounts. The official record stayed suspiciously vague. Then came the 1947 press interview. Byrd sat down with reporters in Chile, just after returning from the ice. He looked different, shaken, not like a man returning from a successful scientific mission. He looked like someone who'd seen something that challenged his understanding of reality. The interview, conducted on March 5, 1947, for the Chilean newspaper El Mercurio, would become one of the most analyzed and quoted documents in alternative history research. Byrd spoke about a land of mystery beyond the pole, about resources that dwarfed anything found in previous expeditions. He mentioned coal, uranium and minerals in quantities that seemed impossible. He described regions with temperatures warm enough to support life, despite being deep in Antarctic territory. He talked about areas larger than the United States itself, completely unexplored, potentially hiding resources that could sustain civilization for generations. But it was what he didn't say that caught attention. His pauses, his choice of words, the way his eyes seemed to be measuring every statement against some invisible boundary of what he was allowed to reveal. Byrd hinted at discoveries that couldn't be explained by conventional science. He referenced warm zones that shouldn't exist according to established climate models. He alluded to geographic features that contradicted established Antarctic maps created by previous expeditions. And then, in the most puzzling statement of the interview, he suggested that Antarctica held secrets that could rewrite human history. Not expand history, rewrite it. That single word choice sparked decades of speculation. Within weeks, the tone changed. Military brass stepped in. The expedition's findings were classified. Photographs that had been promised to the public never materialized. And Byrd, who had always been vocal about his adventures, suddenly stopped talking about Operation High Jump altogether. Here's where the official story falls apart. Operation High Jump was supposed to last 6 months. It ended after 8 weeks. The military cited bad weather and equipment failures. But veterans of the expedition told different stories in private. Stories about encounters they couldn't explain, about orders to evacuate immediately, about something on the Rockefeller coast that terrified command staff. One account, leaked decades later, he described a structure, not a natural formation, a structure, buried under ice but visible from aerial reconnaissance, geometric patterns that couldn't be explained by erosion or geological processes. Some researchers believe Byrd's team found evidence of a pre-cataclysm civilization. Others point to the Tartarian theory, suggesting connections to a worldwide advanced culture that mainstream history refuses to acknowledge. The Tartarian connection isn't as wild as it sounds when you look at the evidence. Across the globe, we find massive structures built with technology that shouldn't have existed in their supposed time periods. Buildings with features that match across continents separated by thousands of miles. And always, the same official explanation dismissing the obvious questions. Antarctica offers a unique problem for mainstream narratives. The continent is buried under miles of ice. But that ice is relatively recent in geological terms. Antarctica was once warm. It once had forests, rivers, and possibly civilization. Maps from the 1500s, like the Piri Reis map, show Antarctica's coastline in detail. Coastline that modern science only confirmed with ground-penetrating radar in the 1960s. How did medieval cartographers know what Antarctica looked like beneath the ice? The standard answer involves ancient source maps and lucky guesses. But when you start adding up the lucky guesses, you're left with a pattern that suggests knowledge from a time before the ice. This brings us back to Byrd and the Rockefeller coast. If there was a civilization in Antarctica before the Ice Age, evidence would still exist, buried yes, but not gone. And if Byrd found that evidence in 1947, the implications would be catastrophic for established historical timelines. Think about what that would mean. Every textbook rewritten, every archaeological assumption questioned, power structures built on controlling historical narratives would collapse overnight. The people who benefit from keeping history sanitized had every reason to bury whatever Byrd found. But the story doesn't end in 1947. In the decades following Operation High Jump, Antarctica became subject to the Antarctic Treaty. Signed in 1959, the treaty essentially locked down the continent. No military operations, strict controls on who could visit and where they could go. Research stations only in approved zones, and most tellingly, areas of the continent remained completely off-limits without special authorization. The Rockefeller coast is one of those restricted areas. Despite modern technology that could easily map every inch of Antarctica, certain regions remain blank on publicly available maps. Official explanations cite logistical challenges and lack of funding. But private expeditions with offers to fund their own research get denied permits. Something about those areas is being actively protected. Researchers who've studied the Antarctic Treaty notice something interesting in the language. The treaty doesn't just regulate current activity. It explicitly prevents any nation from making territorial claims based on discoveries. Why would that clause be necessary unless someone already found something worth claiming? Recent satellite imagery adds fuel to the fire. In 2016, researchers using publicly available Google Earth data spotted what appeared to be entrances carved into Antarctic ice cliffs, perfectly rectangular, clearly artificial. Within months, those images were blurred out on the platform. Google cited data errors, but archived screenshots show the structures clearly. Then there are the whistleblowers. People who worked on modern Antarctic expeditions and saw things that didn't match the official narrative. Accounts of restricted zones guarded by military personnel, even though the Antarctic Treaty supposedly bans military presence. Reports of excavation equipment in areas marked as pure research stations. And most disturbingly, stories about researchers who asked too many questions, suddenly finding themselves reassigned or dismissed. One former contractor described being flown to a location near the Rockefeller coast in 2003. His job was installing power systems. He expected a research station. What he found was an excavation site. Tunnels going deep into the ice, equipment that had nothing to do with climate research, and strict orders not to discuss anything he saw. When his contract ended, he was required to sign an NDA with criminal penalties for violation. Compare this to how other continents are treated. You can explore most of Earth with minimal restrictions, but Antarctica, you need permission just to visit. Independent exploration is effectively illegal. The official reason is environmental protection. But the continent has already been visited by thousands of tourists and researchers. The fragile ecosystem argument doesn't hold up when cruise ships regularly dock on Antarctic shores. What's really being protected? What did Byrd find that was so significant it required shutting down an entire continent? Some researchers point to energy systems, ancient civilizations with technology that harnessed natural forces in ways we're only beginning to understand. If structures on the Rockefeller coast contain evidence of advanced power generation, every energy monopoly on Earth would move to suppress that information. Free energy would destroy the economic systems that control modern society. Others suggest the discovery relates to human origins. Evidence that humanity's timeline is far older than the accepted 6,000 years of civilization. Proof that advanced cultures rose and fell long before Mesopotamia and Egypt. That kind of revelation would demolish religious and academic institutions built on specific historical frameworks. But perhaps the most unsettling theory connects to the Tartarian hypothesis, the idea that a worldwide advanced civilization existed within the last few centuries, not millennia, and that this civilization was deliberately erased from history through coordinated efforts across multiple nations. If Antarctica holds Tartarian structures complete with their distinctive architectural features, it would prove the theory and expose one of the largest cover-ups in human history. Admiral Bird died in 1957. He never publicly returned to the subject of his 1947 discoveries. His personal journals from Operation High Jump remain classified to this day. Some excerpts have leaked over the years, but their authenticity is disputed. What's not disputed is that Byrd, a man who built his entire career on exploration and publicity, chose silence over his greatest discovery. That silence speaks volumes. You don't suppress information unless it threatens something important. You don't classify a scientific expedition unless it found something that couldn't be safely shared. And you don't lock down an entire continent unless you're protecting secrets that powerful people need buried. The evidence keeps piling up. Strange seismic readings from beneath the Antarctic ice suggesting hollow spaces where there should be solid rock. Magnetic anomalies that make compasses spin wildly in certain regions. Temperature readings that show warm zones deep under the ice sheet, far warmer than any volcanic activity could explain. Modern expeditions continue to find puzzling discoveries. In 2018, scientists announced finding ancient forests preserved under Antarctic ice, trees that grew when the continent was warm, but the age dating put those forests far more recent than expected. Some samples suggested forests were growing in Antarctica less than 0 years ago. That's recent enough for human civilization to have existed there. So here's where we are. An expedition in 1947 finds something on the Rockefeller coast significant enough to end the mission early and classify everything. The expedition leader hints at discoveries that could change history, then never speaks of it again. The area is locked down by international treaty within 12 years. Modern research confirms Antarctica was warm and potentially inhabited in the recent past, and anyone who tries to investigate too closely gets shut down. What's on the Rockefeller coast? We may never know the full truth, but the pattern is clear. Something was found. Something important enough to justify decades of suppression. Something that threatens the established narrative of human history and potentially the power structures built on controlling that narrative. Admiral Bird took his secrets to the grave, but he left enough clues to keep researchers digging. And as technology improves, as satellite imagery gets harder to censor, as whistleblowers continue to speak out, the truth becomes harder to hide. Antarctica isn't just a frozen wasteland, it's a locked vault, and somewhere beneath that ice on the Rockefeller coast lies evidence that could change everything we think we know about our past. The question isn't what they found anymore. The question is when the truth finally comes out, and what happens when it does. If you want to go deeper into suppressed history and the evidence mainstream archaeology ignores, check out the video on screen. It breaks down the Tartarian architectural connections that appear on every continent, including the patterns that match what leaked reports describe from Antarctica. And if you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're questioning. Subscribe and join thousands of others who refuse to accept official narratives without evidence.